My wife is accusing me of trying to create an emotional divide between her and her son. I have been married to my wife for 15 years now. We married in our senior year of college. Upon graduation, she worked for 3 years to help pay for our finances while I was in law school. During my last year of law school, my wife got pregnant with our son Zane. After his birth and my graduation, I found work at a big firm out in Nike. I began making a good 6 figures, and my wife asked if she could become a stay-at-home mom to help raise our son. I agreed with her and told her I would cover the house finances. We've never had any issues with this. True, I would work long hours, but she understood. The house would always be clean and there was always food ready when I got home. It was a great dynamic. The only issue was that I rarely saw my kid. Zane was usually asleep by the time I got home, because I would get home late. Zane and his mom are close because they spend a lot of time together. Fast forward to 2020 and COVID hits. During COVID, firms, including the one I worked at, moved to remote work. I was happy I could work from home and spend more time with my wife and kid. Zane loved it. He would bring his Legos and toys into my room and sit on the floor and play near me. We could talk and have a good time. At the beginning, my wife was happy about it. She liked seeing us together and she would join in the room too. Me doing my work and them hanging around. However, if everything stayed great, I wouldn't be writing this. It's been 3 years since 2020, and my firm still allows remote work, so I still take advantage of it. Zane still comes in to play on his Switch or iPad, and even do his schoolwork in there while I work. My wife doesn't join us anymore. She just sits in the other room watching TV. So a few nights ago, I asked her if everything was okay, and she got loud and mad, which she has never done before. She began accusing me of stealing Zane from her. How it used to be the two of them laughing and having a fun time, but now all he wants to do is stay near my office, or in my office. I was shocked. I told my wife that he is my kid too, and that with me here we can all spend time together, unlike how we couldn't before. She said I was trying to emotionally steal her son from her. I reminded her that he was my son too, and I deserved to be around him as much as she did. My wife began crying and packed an overnight bag and decided to go stay with her sister. I was left dumbfounded at how south everything had gone in this conversation. It's been 3 days since she left and her texts have basically been dry and basically asking me to go back to working on site in my firm. I don't want to have to do this as I'd much rather work from home closer to my family. I've spoken with her sister, and she says that she sees no issue in what I am doing, and said she will try to reason with my wife. I told one of my friends and he asked if it was possible that Zane wasn't my kid and my wife was feeling guilt seeing us together. I told him that wasn't possible. Not only because my wife has never shown any signs of being unfaithful, even while dating, but we did a paternity test for safe measures. That was the lawyer part of me that wanted it. We also have security cameras in and around the house due to 2 security incidents a few years ago. My wife never leaves without texting me, and nothing is off at home. We also share each other's locations on iPhone, so I doubt there's an affair being covered up. He also still spends a lot of time with her, and likes to go with her when they go out. Zane is wondering where mom is and I am left really confused. Has anyone ever dealt with this before? Any thoughts on what I should do? Comments. Comment 1. I'm glad OP's wife is getting personal counseling. The other 2 are also a good idea, but she did not shut down all 3, and is going to perhaps the most important one. I am also glad she was able to admit out loud that the changing dynamic was what got to her, and to accept responsibility for her own insecurities, and make positive changes in her life going forward. Comment 2. Aita. I've never really thought of how dependent SAMs can be on their children needing them. It sounds obvious, but yikes. That must hurt. Update. I went to speak with my wife the night I made this post. I went over to her sister's house to try and understand why she said what she said. Upon seeing me, she immediately began crying and asking me to forgive her, and that she was sorry that she said what she said. Apparently she had talked with her sister, and her sister tried explaining to her that our son was growing up and becoming more independent. The majority of the comments on the original post were right. She had been a SAM for the past 12 years. But now that our son was exploring his independence, she didn't know what to do and felt lost. I asked her what caused the big blow-up, and she said that our son had told her that he wanted to stop doing the weekly baking Saturdays with her, as he wanted to instead start watching college football with me. His school is also asking them to explore their extracurriculars for next year, and my wife wanted him to do a cooking extracurricular that the school provides. He told her he didn't want to do that and wanted to start playing football. Important to note that in my office that I said my son spends a lot of time in, there is a lot of my football memorabilia. I played in high school as did my brother, and my father. Now I had a few trophies and a state championship ring that Zhang liked to hold and look at. No, I didn't play in college, I was a backup on the team. Basically what did it for her, was that Zane started to ignore all the old hobbies they did together, and wanted to align himself with my interests. She felt the connection between them weakening. She was in tears the entire time she was speaking. I listened to her and understood where she was coming from. It can't be easy to have your identity be attached to one thing and then have that one thing change. I asked her why she was gone for 3 days. She said that she didn't mean to be gone for this long, but that when her sister mentioned she put all her identity into our son, she thought it would be a good idea to be away for a few days, and give herself some separation. I told her that he will always be her son, and that she will always hold a special place in her heart. That no matter how old he gets or how his interests change, he will always need his mom. He's just changing, and part of our jobs as parents is to embrace that change and support him. She came home with me that night. She hugged Zane and cried, telling him that she was sorry for leaving. I took your advice and suggested family counseling, marriage counseling, or individual therapy. She said she would like to put off the first two for now, but did ask for help finding a therapist for her. So that should help. I suggested her getting a job or something that she can do so that her entire identity isn't being a mom. She said she doesn't like her college degree, so I told her to back to school if she wants and I'll foot the bill. She is planning on doing culinary school, and wants to open a YouTube cooking channel. And I told her I am behind her 100%. She also wanted to start working at her friend's bakery, so she will be starting there next month. I also suggested group family time so that the three of us do more family activities. I'm also asking Zane if he would want to do designated mom time and designated dad time. He can do activities with his mom and I can do activities with him. He asked me to help him practice football, so I'm thrilled to do that with him. We also decided that mom and dad need to have their alone time, so he's going to get more free time to himself.